Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points, episode 4. I'm Matt Clausen, your moderator, joined as always by RJ from Do You Take Cards?
How are you tonight, Matt?
I'm good. I've got 2 new credit cards. I'm happy. Life is good. More data points, more science. And we're also joined, as always, by Tariq Gaines, who it's still week 4 of the podcast, so we don't expect the villain arc to be completed, but next week we should be seeing him joining the YouTube world. Tariq, how are you?
Well, the villain arc might actually be fast forwarded, however I want to say it, since I got sick with COVID for the last couple days, and I've taken more medicine in the last 5 days than I probably had in the last 5 years. But we're chugging along.
There we go. All right. Well, hopefully we get all the way through recovery on that one, and I know you've got a couple of things coming up that you want to be able to attend, so feel better.
We're getting there.
Absolutely. So we do have a light news week at the moment. Our big item that I've talked about on my channel seems to be the biggest news around is the impending changes to the American Express Gold Card. We did have rumors drop over the weekend, right after American Express's Q2 earnings call. Just a quick roundup of these rumors. We have a rumored annual fee increase of $325. Credits. We have the dining credit that the American Express Gold Card has. Will be swapping out Shake Shack and Milk Bar for Five Guys, burgers and fries. And it will be gaining a $7 a month Dunkin' Donuts credit and a semi-annual $50 per 6 month Resi credit. The Uber credit will stay, and there's been no mention of any other multipliers changing, although the dining credit is going to max to $50,000 in spend in a year. So now the American Express Gold Card will cap you at 300,000 membership reward points. As I said in my video, if you can hit that spend, congratulations. Good job, and I'm sorry that you're capped. Did you guys have any thoughts on the gold card rumors as they are?
I don't think this is going to be the final version. I think this is definitely an option that Amex is considering. I don't think this is going to be the final version of the card. The $7 Dunkin' thing, I personally go to Dunkin', so I would be happy for it, but it seems like such a random number. And Amex tends to like round numbers because round numbers are easy for people to understand. It's $10 a month. People understand that. $7 makes people question why not 10. And I don't think they want people to question it. So I don't disagree most of these things are going to come true, but it does seem like there's a couple tweaks that they might still be making, which might be why it's not going to come out this Thursday, but a couple Thursdays from now when the ink is dry on those deals.
I mean, they got talking about the same bank that already has a $7 credit for the Disney bundle on both the Blue Cash Everyday and Blue Cash Preferred. So it's not too far-fetched from American Express. I do say it does feel like it's kind of a meme with all the different credits with Dunkin' Donuts and Five Guys, because in my honest opinion, it doesn't really scream American Express Gold Card because, well, I mean, thinking about the Five Guys, I mean, a $10 monthly credit for $5 would give you like maybe half of a meal. So that sounds about right.
The reason my rebuttal to the $7 Disney credit though is the $7 is roughly tied to their lowest monthly tier. So there's a reason that it's roughly what it is versus the Dunkin' credit that it's not tied to anything. So that would be my rebuttal there. I agree it's not out of the realm of possibility this is all real. The only thing that I am truly happy for is I want the white gold so I can distinguish this card from my business gold a little easier when I go to grab it out of my wallet. That is the sole thing that I'm really, really excited for, is that beautiful, beautiful white gold. And we can finally settle the rose gold versus the gold debate, because the answer is going to be white gold.
I will say that is definitely the card to keep the peace, that will bring peace between Team Rose Gold and Team Classic Gold, or as I'll say, Team Classic Gold and Team Pink card. But I have no horse in the race, because all I have for American Express is the blue cash every day. So my opinions on the American Express are about as worth as much as Credit One's transfer partners, if they had any.
That poor, poor dead horse. Um, you know, we do have a little extra time to explore this. The gold card to me just feels like it's having an identity crisis. You've got the food credit, like the idea of if you food, get this card, right? But then it's got, there's been nothing said about the hotel collection credit, which is $100 for spending at least 2 nights at a hotel collection hotel with the gold card, and you get, you know, maybe like $100 food and beverage credit at whatever hotel. But it's weird to have that also on the gold card. It's weird to have the 3 times flight multiplier when the green card can cover that and the platinum card can cover that. Why does the gold card need to have that? And then, you know, going back to the Sebi rumor about American Express Entertainment, it would make more sense to have like an entertainment category in that 3X. It would make more sense to have like entertainment focused credits or exclusive access, like even more exclusive access to gold card members than like platinum and Centurion card members for American Express entertainment events. Not the platinum and Centurion card members won't also get experience like exclusivity, but like they would get higher end experience exclusivity, whereas the gold card would still get like some level of exclusivity. I think that would be a more exciting refresh at 325 than a random Dunkin' Donuts credit, when Dunkin' Donuts is very regionalized to the Northeast, portions along the East Coast, some portions of the Midwest have some Dunkin' Donuts. There's New York transplants in California who get some Dunkin' Donuts, but like the Pacific Northwest is barren. The entire Mountain West is barren. Like Dunkin' Donuts doesn't seem like the brand to tie a credit to, or it should have just been like a rotating coffee credit where it's like, oh, $7 at Dunkin' if you're in an area where Dunkin' works for you, $7 at Krispy Kreme if you're in an area where Krispy Kreme works out for you. Krispy Kreme coffee is like okay, but you go for the donut. And $7 Dutch Bros if you're on the West Coast. Like that would have made more sense to me, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this is what the card ends up being, in which case I will feel like they missed out on an opportunity. Uh, Maybe it's not, as RJ said, but yeah, I just wanted to bring up those areas as well.
You also have to spend $678 a month just to get your annual fee back in points on this card at 325, which, look, I have the gold card. I have a couple iterations of the gold card. I will probably have a singular gold card after the annual fees hit next year. I'll be probably downgrading or canceling at least one of the 3 that I have right now. But having to spend $678 a month just to make the annual fee back and not get points above that for the gold card, which is supposed to sort of be the every person food lover supermarket dining out card, feels like Amex wants to shed people. Like I feel like they opened availability up for platinum and gold more in the last couple of years than I think that they necessarily should have or maybe wanted to. This feels like a way to almost reset to where they're like, okay, our lounges are getting a little full. We're getting people that are, you know, figuring out how to game these things. Let's raise the annual fee, which is going to lose people right there, or shed business to sort of make their cards more exclusive again, because they aren't as exclusive as I think Amex wants them to be, or they have been in the past.
I mean, we have seen with American Express wanting to shed business with the restrictions on the Centurion Lounge over the last year or two with uh even that in the Delta Sky Club. So I mean, it's not too far out of the realm of American Express, especially with the added fees and everything. It seems like American Express has more customers than they expected, and they're probably not making as much money off of them. And we probably have more people that are like within the community taking a lot of the credits and costing American Express more money than American Express is making money off of them and their slight fees. So it's definitely a possibility. We could definitely, I can make that out with the changes with the gold card. But yeah, we'll definitely see what's going on in the near future with that. But in the mention, Matt, we said having a Dutch Bros credit in like a certain area. Please don't say that too far out loud because my girlfriend loves Dutch Bros and she will definitely get use out of a $7 Dutch Bros credit. So I'm not ready for a gold card yet. So
I don't know where I fall on this. Like, that absolutely makes sense that they're looking to kind of take away from their business, like not take away from their business, but start like pushing a couple of folks, some number of folks off of the gold card or off of the cards that they have because they brought in too many people during a very set time and related to certain illnesses that people can contract from time to time. Was
like the one I have.
Yeah. Play, we'll have to see. Like, we're going to revisit this when the card goes live. I will definitely be revisiting it when the card goes live. The changes that are rumored and like the impending change that was coming to it has kind of like stopped me in my tracks with American Express. I joked last week that like I don't spend enough money for American Express, but really like I just want to evaluate whether or not it's worth jumping into because the cards sort of make a little bit of sense, but like a lot of the time, like the green and the gold compare well together, but the green, gold, and platinum, like there's redundancy that I don't necessarily enjoy. So we'll jump into some topics. Uh, you know what? Let's start with someone else starting the topics. Let's start with RJ. What is your topic for this week?
My topic that I want to talk about this week is Chase 524. It is something spoken about a lot in the community. It's something that people fear and revere and live by, and I don't entirely understand why.
Yeah, so I myself have started taking away from using the term 524. I'm now just trying to just paint it as Chase's marketing term, or Chase's marketing rule, so that I can try, like in my small little corner of the internet, to start pushing like this is just marketing speak. Like, yes, they have this rule, and if you want to abide by it, this is what you have to do. But it is just pure marketing. It is brilliant marketing. It gets people who are thinking about, oh, well, I thought about this card and this other card, and people in the community who want to give them advice. Oh, well, what's your 524 status? It's the first question people will ask when somebody is asking about a card that they're considering. Well, have you considered Chase? Or like, where are you with Chase? It is the first question, and I personally don't love it just because I didn't start with Chase. I understand the value of Chase points. Do I regret not starting with Chase? No. Do I regret like where I am with Chase? No. Do I regret that I like jumped into Chase at 224 when I got my first Chase card? Also, no. But now understanding the power of Chase, yeah, keeping their marketing under consideration is definitely something that I try to do, but I don't want it to dictate how I go about cards. Like there is going to be a point where I have gotten all the Chase cards that I want to get, and I am no longer worried about Chase. Uh, why do they treat it as a be all end all? Because Chase is the biggest credit card company. That all the spend goes through Chase. That's the only reason why everybody wants Chase cards. Everybody wants, or not everybody wants Chase cards. Most people will want Chase cards. Most people will want the Chase redemptions if they're United Flyers, if they're Hyatt devotees, if they love Marriott, if they love IHG. It's the complete ecosystem that they have that is very appealing. Um, and then like why more companies not have it? Surprisingly, I'm noticing that Wells Fargo has some sort of Wells 24 number. This is coming anecdotally to people who like interact with me because I'm Mr. Wells guy on the internet, apparently. And it's like, so I had like 7 cards that I've gotten in the last 24 months, and Wells rejected me. Huh, interesting. Oh, yeah, I've only gotten like 2 cards in the last 24 months. I had no problem getting the Wells Fargo autograph card. Cool. Let me put a pin in that. You said it was 7. You said it was 2. And then others have said that 6 has been a problem. And then 4 has not necessarily been a problem. So it seems like Wells Fargo has secretly copied 524. That could be a worry for me going forward. But there's only one more Wells card that I have to get to complete my Pokemon set there. So we'll see. But I think the be all end all of it is just like Chase is the biggest company. Chase is the first company everyone defaults to, and I'm trying my best not to reference 524 and just make it Chase's marketing term.
But is it a marketing term when it actually affects your ability to get cards? Like if it was purely like, the best card you have to get, or like the capital one, like what's in your, like if it was something like that, I would get it. But if it is physically stopping you from getting cards because you bump up against it, is that marketing at that point, or is that a rule?
So I would counter with, unless you're actively going after Chase cards, it's it won't matter if all you're getting is Navy Federal and American Express cards. It won't matter if you're going after another issuer's cards. Like Citibank has their velocity terms, Capital One has their velocity terms. For Chase, it's always like, okay, you have to go and count your cards before you have to look at your 24-month period leading up to the card. So like, is it marketing? Probably not. Is it more of a rule? Probably, but it just feels like it's a marketing thing that they just instituted as a hard rule for Turner, and then they've just like let it become their own marketing gimmick because everyone caught on to it.
Tariq, you are a fan of Chase. You want all of the Chase cards the way I want all of the Amex, and Matt wants all of the Wells Fargo. What is your thought on 524?
So I think the best way to describe 524 is less of Chase's marketing term, and this is something our marketing strategy more, and I feel it more as what Chad from Chad's Money Minutes has said. It's Chase's artificial scarcity, their manufactured scarcity, and because Chase points, especially for newbies in the points and mile space, they're easy to earn via sign-up bonuses and redeem. I mean, you can get just the Chase trifecta. You can get a baseline of 100,000 points on the 2 Freedoms and the Sapphire Preferred, or really 2 Freedoms and then the Sapphire. So it does help because it's just like, hey, if you want these Chase cards, you're gonna have to follow this rule. And they just Chase, at least in that point, Chase makes it just significantly easier, especially with having, Hyatt. Hyatt, well, obviously, if Chase didn't have Hyatt, Chase wouldn't be as valuable as many people, including Matt, has said. And even some other domestic partners with United and Southwest. I mean, Southwest, you're going to get, at least at the time being, I think like 1.3, 1.4 cents per point. United, you can get the same value, but also there's other ways to earn United miles. See previous episodes of the podcast to know what that is. So I think with that, with how easy it is to earn chase points and other issuers aren't as easy. I will get to that later, actually. We're hoping. So it makes it so easy for Chase to be like, hey, we give you all this value. You're gonna have to get these cards in a certain amount of time, or else you're gonna have to wait. I mean, even myself, I think I waited like 8 months, 6 to 8 months before I got my first UR earning card. I got the City Custom Cash back in June of last year, and I didn't even get to open my first. I opened the Freedom Flex back in February, so I waited 8 months. So I was beholden to this rule. I'm surprised most other issuers don't have an explicit X24 rule. I mean, like you said, Matt, you mentioned the Wells 24 rule ish, nothing set in stone, but I mean, it to an extent with Chase, though, with that role, it kind of is an end all be all if you want that, like for the starters, for the rookies that want to get the outsized value, like you're going to get at least a baseline 2 cents per point if you transfer with Hyatt with the points, or even just 1.25 cents per point, or even 1.5 cents per point, depending on which flavor of Sapphire you get in the transfer portal or in their travel portal. So I think because of how easy it is to earn chase points and burn them, what's stopping them? So
So I want to put this out to both of you. You can have 5 actual credit cards with Amex. Do you prefer something like that where you can, like, I could cancel 1 or 2 of my cards that I don't use with Amex if I wanted something different and deal with that penalty? But I also have pop-up jail with Amex that you don't really see with other issuers. Like, they all have something. Is because 524 is so prevalent, it actually at least makes it clear and easy.
I will say, compared to having like the five Chase 524 versus Amex 5 credit card rule, I'm leaning more towards 524 because personally, at least if it's counting both personal and business cards, I will have more than 5 chase cards by the time once I'm going through my strategy. And I'd rather have just the tracking the rule, whether I'm using like an app like Travel Freely or going through like my credit report and seeing like what cards I opened up in the last 24 months versus knowing that I can't get more than 5 cards. And I'm like, okay, cool. What cards am I not truly getting value from? And which card am I willing to close? Which the answer would be, if I had it, the Freedom Unlimited. But I'd much rather have all the cards. I mean, you're gonna get that's 60% of your 5 credit cards, if Chase were to implement that rule, would be the Chase trifecta. And if you're only looking at, like, let's just say it's only affecting personal, you have your Chase trifecta, and then you have an airline card and a hotel card. But if you're like someone like me who likes Hyatt, a lot of times you kind of want to have a plan B with that, or you don't necessarily want the Hyatt card. So you're going to get like Hyatt and IHG, Hyatt Marriott, and people like Marriott, they want the Ritz-Carlton card. And that's not including like your United, Southwest, or any other cards that they have. Chase has too many cards in their lineup to be restricted on a 5 credit card rule. That would hurt them, in my opinion.
Matt, any thoughts here?
So Tariq's closing there with Chase having too many cards to properly do a 5 card rule, or like fully do a 5 card rule, definitely resonates. I think Chase would be able to find a happy medium if they just like had the hard and fast churning rule with um with the ultimate reward point earning cards. So you can't apply for more than 5 or more personal cards and be able to get an ultimate reward per earning card, whether that's an ink card, a sapphire card, or a freedom card. If you've gotten more than 5 personal cards from other issuers in the previous 24 months and you want one of these cards, no. I think if you're looking to add like the United Explorer and you're looking to add the World Hyatt card, that rule shouldn't stop you from being able to add those personal cards. The rule could be different on the business side. I completely understand that Chase, when it comes to churning, Chase does not seem to care. American Express has some anti-churning language. They also have ways to bypass it with no lifetime language offers, but those aren't very readily publicly available. People find ways to get them, but Chase doesn't seem to be as restrictive with churning. So if they change some of their churning language, where like, if you get the United Explorer, you have to wait however many months to get the United Quest card, just so that you're not churning United miles and going up the ladder that way. That could be one thing they could pursue. If they wanted to do a 5 personal card, you can only hold 5 credit cards from Chase. Folks would have to seriously consider what their 5 cards would be. For me, it would be inks and a sapphire. For Tariq, it could be a little different. For RJ, it could be different. For our co-host Lonnie, that could be completely different. Like, the math will always be different for somebody. Like, even if they bumped it up to 7, there's still a lot of options, right? So I think 524 should apply to the ultimate reward point earning cards. I think the co-brands shouldn't necessarily be affected the way that they are. And I think there's ways to implement some more anti-churning language on the co-branded side, just to make sure, you're not opening United Gateway 1 month, and then 2 months later you're opening the United Explorer, and then 2 months after that you're opening the United Quest, and then 2 months after that you're opening the United Infinite, and then you're looking for ways to get rid of the Quest and the Explorer, and you only have the 525 annual fee and the no annual fee card. So I think there's ways that they could do it, but this rule just seems to work. And as previously said, Chase is the biggest bank. And right now, no other bank is actively challenging them to change their ways, so they don't have anything to worry about.
I feel like Amex and Chase are the top predator in what they do. Like, they're not challenging each other right now at all, which for number 1 and number 2 in terms of size, and it's number 1 and number 2, and then there's a pretty big cliff. Like, Chase has a good size against Amex, but it feels like Amex is actively, like I said, trying to shed some people to try to change their book of business a little bit. But it feels like there's Chase, Amex, everybody else in a way that, like, they don't go head to head. You would think that they would do that more, but they don't. I would also, final point I have, I think Chase has a lot of cards. I think a lot of Chase's cards are not that good, and because of the 524 rule, their cards are seen to be better by people than they actually are.
Absolutely. And Chase and Amex are just a monopoly. They're the first 2 companies that you think of in the credit card space. Like, it's absolute total monopoly behavior those 2 companies do.
Yeah, it's definitely with Chase and American Express. I mean, it's 2 different they're going for 2 different types of customers. And I mean, we're even seeing that with American Express, I feel like the American Express is trying to bring back that exclusivity association that they have, because it seems like anybody that's willing to spend $700 and have a pulse can get a platinum card. And like, I feel like American Express is looking at that, and it's kind of like hurting their brand, because the platinum doesn't feel like it's this exclusive card like I even thought it was a few years ago, before I even got into the space. Like, I see this fancy card, fancy metal card that you can get in the lounges and everything, and it's just like, oh, you got to spend a whole bunch of money. In reality, it's just like, you just got to be willing to pay $700 a year. that's your card.
I'm
And I
calling
mean,
it
same with the
now.
gold.
A future topic of mine is going to be, has pop-up jail ruined Amex? I'm calling that one now.
Very strong possibility. Has Amex ruined
Stay tuned.
Amex?
Subscribe to Stack Your Points for that answer.
Let's continue on with the topics. And Tariq, what's your topic for the week?
Well, going on the topic of Chase not having like a true competitor to challenge them, I'm going to pivot over to Wells Fargo, who in my eyes is like the issuer to challenge Chase. But the problem with Wells Fargo is, despite them releasing a crazy good lineup of cards recently with the autograph journey, or the autograph journey, and the tune and Signify for Business, the biggest thing, like, and I would say like the roadblock for Wells Fargo is their little weak selection of transfer partners right now. And everybody in the credit card community, at least in the points and miles community, is waiting on Wells Fargo to drop their next round. So what's the hold up, Wells Fargo? Drop your next round of transfer partners already. People need to know what you're going to offer so that they can potentially switch their strategy. I'll tell you this, if Wells Fargo were to add Hyatt or even United, but mostly Hyatt, I will get an autograph journey. Like right now, boom, 524 be darned, because the earnings capability on the autograph and the autograph journey are just great. But I think the only hotel partner is like Choice. And like I know there's value in Choice. Not gonna shame anybody who, use Choice, like your Road Warriors, shout out to Gruss. But like that's just not for me. I don't plan on staying in Choice hotels that way. I like my Hyatts. I like, the Marriott's, IHGs. So that's just not me. So with that being said, I'm just waiting to see what their transfer partners are and when they're going to do it. So, Matt, what do you think? I know you are like king of Wells Fargo right now, so I wanted to hear your take first.
So, as you guys know, pretty much every video I do with Wells Fargo, I will inject a segment of like, please, for the love of God, tell us who your transfer partner is. Add more transfer partners. We need more transfer partners. The opening salvo is stronger than folks are probably willing to admit. The problem is that they did alliance partners, which is great. Like you can book American Airlines with Avios. That got devalued lately. That's a pain, but you can still book One World Airlines with Avios, with British Airways Avios, and you can move your British Airways Avios over to Qatar. You can move your British Airways Avios over to Finnair, and there you go. So they can book One World. It's just going through that process of having to take that extra step. A lot of people don't want to do. They just want to book directly, whether it's with Alaska or with um, American or Cathay, and I'm running out of One World Partners, but you get the idea. Same is true with Avianca. Avianca is getting better. Avianca does not have a great reputation for booking on Star Alliance. Like you can do it cheaply, but the process is about as easy as getting a root canal with no anesthesia. Um, it's not as easy as some of the other partners, like say Aeroplan. Like Aeroplan is super easy to book as long as you're not looking to book United domestic. So like I can understand why they don't get the domestic partners. United is tied up long term with Chase. Delta is tied up long term with American Express, as we've highlighted before. And American Airlines is just doing their own thing because they're annoying. So like a Delta, one of the big three, I don't necessarily see, but like a JetBlue, a Frontier, an Allegiant, a Spirit, any of these programs that have frequent flyer programs, Breeze, Sun Country doesn't, but like any of those smaller airlines would definitely work, especially with the ability to kind of fly wherever you need to go, depending on like where you are. Like if you're in Las Vegas, you can fly everybody. if you're in, the greater New York City metropolitan area, you can fly everybody. If you're in DC, you can fly most people, right? Southwest has you covered. Who else? I want to say Spirit flies in and out of DCA. But you major hubs, major population centers, you're going to be able to be covered pretty easily, and you can hop around. I think the hotel partners are going to be interesting. I assume we're going to see like IHG as one of the next transfer partners for Wells Fargo directly. And Wells could also take like a side path with their co-branded partners, and maybe there's something being cooked where like you could change your Wells Fargo points into Bilt points and then make your booking that way, or you can move your Wells Fargo points into One Key Cash and make your bookings that way. It would be an interesting take. It would be a different take on it. I don't know if those are being negotiated. I have no inside knowledge. I'm begging and pleading with Wells Fargo pretty much all the time, but I know that when the next round of transfer partners come up, if they have a big partner, whether maybe not necessarily IHG or Marriott, because those are like lower level redemptions, but they are available to everybody. If they land at a Hyatt, they'll become the talk of the town. If they land Southwest, they will be highly regarded. If they somehow also landed Alaska Airlines, that would be another big coup for them. I think Aeroplan is more likely. One of the Virgin programs will probably sign up with them. So you got SkyTeam access, more SkyTeam access that way. I didn't even mention Flying Blue. So Flying Blue is a little bit easier than some of the others, but once we get that next round, I think we'll know a lot more about where Wells Fargo is going, because Wells Fargo is very much like teeing themselves up to be that sneaky good competitor above Citi, above Capital One. I don't know if their plans are going to include like their own lounge. I don't know what else they're going to do on the travel side of things, but like they're adding things like it appears that they're adding some rules from the other issuers to make them sort of appealing. One of which could be, I haven't completely verified this, but like based on my own experience with it and some anecdotes, one thing they could be doing is American Express's soft pull rule, or a soft pull experience. So like your first card, you get a hard pull. Your next card will be a soft pull, and every card after that may be a soft pull as well. Like they'll still add to your personal cards if they're personal cards, and they'll appear to be ghost cards if they're business cards. And they're adopting Chase's 524 rule. So it looks like they're putting together the formula. It's just going to be getting that last piece. And I don't know where they are. I am hopeful to see a list. Like, I'm hopeful for the next round. I would be even more curious if it's Bilt or Expedia. Like, those would be interesting plays that are not the typical play that you would see from a credit card company.
I just think the thought of Wells Fargo doing a one-to-one transfer to Bilt would be insane, especially with the transfer partners that Bilt has, which are some of the best, especially with Bilt being a no annual fee program, or really a $0 program just for signing up for the account. I think if they did that, I would open up a Signify Cash right now, get the sign-up bonus, and transfer 50,000 Wells Fargo points to 50,000 Bilt points, which could be 50,000 Hyatt points, 50,000 United points for me. And then I would just start potentially just going down the Wells Fargo rabbit hole, start earning Wells Fargo points, because Bilt points are valuable, very valuable. I would say as much, if not more valuable than Chase points. It's just with Chase points, you can earn them a lot faster than you can with Bilt points because of the sign-up bonus. But 1,000 points, at least 1,000 points a month if you have the card. So there's that. So Wells Fargo, please, if you don't do anything else but add a Bilt one-to-one transfer partner, you're getting a customer at that. RJ, what do you think though about just Wells Fargo's potential list of transfer partners?
So I will say this, and I don't talk about Bilt much for reasons that I've shared with Matt and a little bit with Tariq, but Bilt's customer service is so terrible. I will never have a Bilt card and I will never use the Bilt program. So them getting a Bilt one-to-one, for me personally, is terrible because that would do me no good. And I want to get away from Chase and go to Wells Fargo so bad, and I will not without a better transfer partner than they have. So it kills me. The thought of it kills me because I can use like 2 or 3 of their transfer partners from Bilt immediately. So it kills me inside a little bit. I'll just say this and then I will be done with Bilt and I will probably not talk about them very much ever again. If you don't have a customer service phone number that people can call when they have issues, that is a giant red flag the size of Times Square. Let's just put it that way. They do some shady stuff when they talk to you if you ever need their customer service. If you've never needed their customer service and everything has gone great, I'm sure it's a lovely program. I needed their customer service, couldn't get anybody, had to email back and forth. I had 3 hard pulls for their card because they kept getting my information wrong. So my feelings on Bilt are tainted, and I'm going to go into my comments admitting that I have a very tumultuous issue with Bilt. But I will say this about Wells Fargo, because I don't hold any of that to Wells Fargo, and because Bilt is sort of its own thing. I want Wells Fargo cards. Like Matt and I have talked about all of the Wells Fargo cards that I would have were they to have a single hotel partner that I could use. And so Hilton and Marriott tend to be the 2 I use because of coverage, because of the amount of coverage. I would switch, as much as Hyatt drives me nuts with some of how they do things, I would switch to Hyatt as my backup. They wouldn't ever probably be my primary, but I would switch them as my backup if Wells Fargo could transfer to Hyatt. Even IHG, even a Wyndham. Like, I'm not asking for the moon. I'm asking for Wyndham at this point, guys. But like something as a backup that I could use, that I could reliably use at this point would be huge. Because as we talked about in the last one, yeah, Chase has some cards. Chase is a huge bank. But I don't want to use Chase. I'm kind of forced into using Chase because they have Marriott. And that's the only transfer partner I use Chase for is Marriott, because I don't fly United because I fly out of a regional airport. And to something Matt has said earlier, yes, you can use partners to book flights on things unless you fly out of a regional airport, because I can't use Flying Blue to book Delta flights out of the airport I fly out of. So having Flying Blue points does nothing for me. Literally nothing. They're literally worthless to me because I can't use them. And most of the country lives closer to a major metropolitan area than I do, and I fully admit that, and it is much easier for y'all to use points, and I fully admit that too. But I am begging Wells, please get a transfer partner I can use, because as soon as they do, and as soon as they will allow me to get cards, because it'll probably be a few months before I can do that too, I am so done with Chase. Like, if I never have to have another Chase card, if I never have to deal with Chase, I am literally begging Wells Fargo to let me replace Chase. Like, I am begging. I will give you my money. I will spend through those cards. I spend money. I spend a lot of money. I am happy to spend money. I will give you the Chase annual fees. I will just send you a check for what I would spend on the Chase annual fees, Wells Fargo. I'm begging you. Just let me give you my money. But yeah, I think that if they can get a Hyatt, I think Wells Fargo completely changes the system, because that has been the thing that has let Chase be Chase in certain ways, or at least conversationally among people who like credit cards. Because they have Hyatt, you have to give them attention, even if you don't fly United, even if you don't fly Southwest, even if you care about none of their other partners. Because of Hyatt, you have to give them some respect. And I think if we take that away from them, it'll make Chase go, oh, we actually have to be good again. And it will make Amex, even though that's not a partner for them, I think it might put a little bit of pressure on Amex to up themselves. It'll put some pressure on Citi. It'll put some pressure on everybody else. Unless you're like a US bank where transfer partners are irrelevant because you don't have any and you just do everything through the portal or real-time rewards, like, Everybody else has multiple hotel transfer partners except for Wells Fargo. Everybody else has a greater breadth of airline partners except for Wells Fargo. So I think if Wells Fargo can make a splash, it'll be good. They also have to if they're going to have the Beyond and have a major travel card. Because if this is their partners that you can transfer out when they do their splashy big ticket travel card, it's going to fail. Like it will fail because people are not going to sign up for a giant, even if it's a $200 or $300 annual fee compared to their other cards, people aren't going to sign up for it if they don't have the transfer partners. So I guess my final thought is please, Wells Fargo, get some transfer partners I can use so I can get rid of Chase. Thank you, signed RJ. Also, your cards are very pretty.
RJ, ma'am, please get up. Your desperation is showing that
Like
it was a little painful.
I am nakedly desperate to get rid of Chase because I don't have any affinity for Chase other than they have a single transfer partner I can use.
Yeah,
Like,
but you were begging for Wyndham. That is pure desperation.
look,
Are you
Hey, man.
okay?
this is
Blink twice if we need help.
this is my backup hotel though, because Marriott is everywhere.
I get it, but jeez.
Don't besmirch Howard Johnson.
Howard
Don't
Like-
besmirch
Johnson.
La Quinta. All right, let's close out the topics with my topic. My topic for this week, kind of rolling in the theme of the American Express Gold Card. If you could take one card from one issuer, copy it, maybe make modifications, but move it from one issuer to another, what card would it be and why? And I was sort of struck with this with the Points Guy article that came out that said, like, oh, Chase is in a prime position to take the American Express Gold Card, copy it, feature for feature, slash the annual fee, offer it up, and everyone would sign up for this card. And I was like, yes, they would, because I would take a $195 annual fee, 4X dining, 4X grocery. I don't know what else you do with 3X for Chase because they're allergic to gas multipliers, but whatever. Any 3X multiplier on this card, 1X everything else, 195. Where do I sign? I will give you all my money. Well, I'm not going to give you all my money, but I will give you $195 for this card. But for me, yes, every issuer should do this. The other card for me personally is, again, the US Bank Cash Plus card. I think the US Bank Cash Plus card is everything you want in a rotating category card. 5 times points or 5% back on a set list that you get to pick two from. $2,000 and spend a quarter. You get to pick a 2X category from a list of like 3 with US Bank, and you get 1 time points on everything else. I think this style of card, where it gives you the freedom to select your categories of choice every quarter, and you get to spend more, is a better card and a useful card in every ecosystem that I want to see this style of card brought to Wells Fargo, to Chase, to Capital One, sure. I would even love to see Amex play with this card. Like, I would love to see what Amex would do with that. Personally, I'd love it on Wells Fargo. I would love it even more with Chase, because if Chase got that card, I would sign up for that card as well. Let's go over to Tariq. Is there a card that you would like to copy and paste? Just steal blatantly from another issuer?
Honestly, yes. It would be one card that I would take the American Express Blue Cash every day, keep the categories as they are, make them, instead of a cashback earning card, similar, make it to like a freedom card with Chase, where the cashback can be converted to like earned as ultimate reward points. And I could have a 3X gas, grocery, and online shopping with Chase. That card would be, in my opinion, like the ultimate Chase card for earning.
What are you doing with the grocery cap?
We can keep it. We can keep it as it is. I mean, I'll be okay with it. I mean, it'll suck for, the people that will spend a lot more. And to them, I say, hey, there's a quarter with the Freedom Flex where you'll get, the extra cap. So have at it. But
Synergy route. Okay.
I as it is, I would just keep that card for those categories. Ooh, I could just think about that. Like taking that, using that card, earning 3x online shopping, partnered with mileage plus shopping. And I could use that as my HEB card, use it for gas. Oh man, the thought of all the points is just making me salivate. All right, I'm gonna stop before like I get too excited. But yeah, Blue Cash every day to chase and make it like I don't even know what to call it. The chase freedom. Oh, screw it. The chase freedom every day.
The bold card. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for them. RJ, what card would you copy shamelessly and bring
So
over to?
I have two answers for this. I have my real answer, and then I have the one that would benefit me personally the most. The one that would benefit me personally the most is if I could make the Apple card make me member rewards points, because then I could get rid of the gold business card and my life would be simpler. Because look, I spend a lot at Apple. I have a very expensive laptop that is running this entire podcast right now and downloading things to the external drive that it is hooked up through. I spend a lot at Apple. And if I could turn that into member rewards points, I could go to the Maldives. Like I literally probably could afford in 1 year of Apple purchases going to the Maldives through member rewards points. Like it's a lot. My real answer, and the answer that I think is the most useful for the most people, is if we could just take that Chase Sapphire Preferred and just move it to Amex. No, I'm kidding. I warned Matt that was coming, so his reaction was not as natural as it could have been. But no, my real answer is the Altitude Reserve. Because if you could do an Amex card with 3x on mobile wallet for member rewards points, I think that would be huge. Because I know personally, like, yes, dining is that weird category where some nicer places and just some regular places don't do a mobile wallet, but a lot of stores do. A lot of places that I go personally do, even in sort of not a major city, almost all of them have some version of mobile pay. So if we could turn the Altitude Reserve, even if you strip off some of the sort of travel-y sections of it, because Amex would probably be like, no, that's too close to the platinum, so we're going to pluck that back. But if you could sort of turn it into where the gold card is, and have that mobile pay, maybe add some dining, I think it would be a huge, huge points monster for Amex. And I think they would get a ton of goodwill with the 3x mobile wallet.
Yeah, an Altitude Reserve over at American Express would be insane. Like they could get rid of the dining category. Well, it doesn't really have a dining category. It does have a good dining category. But the
Has a
travel, 3x
dining
travel,
credit.
3x. Oh yeah, travel and dining credit. But that card on American Express would be insane. RJ, to your Apple card statement, is your Apple card connected to your Rakuten?
It is, but it not for dining. It will not let me hook it up for dining, but it will let me hook it up for regular spend.
Because then your Apple purchases would get whatever the Apple cashback is on Rakuten as MR points.
The problem is because I do the pre-launch for the phones, I have to go through the Apple Store. Good thought. I use it for other things, and I used it when I bought my laptop because I bought that. I didn't buy that early on anything, so I did for that. But yeah, honestly, the feature I want to steal, like it's not a card, it's a feature. If we could just steal blatantly from Chase and have your cashback cards be able to have their cashback converted to points, I would use my Blue Cash every day. It would be dusted off from the sock drawer and I would actually use the card because I don't use cashback. Like cashback means nothing to me. Like I'm sorry if you like cashback. I hope it does the things to your brain that points do to mine, but cashback does nothing to my brain. Like it just does not. I rather get 1 MR point than 5% cashback. Like that's just how my brain works.
Well, I like points as much as, you know, the next points and miles earner, but I'll take my 5% cash back over one bank currency point. I use my cash back to like subsidize annual fees. So like
Okay.
that's why I
You
like
want to
cash
talk
back.
annual fees, sir? You want to compare our annual fees? Because
No.
5% cash back, I could literally get 5% cash back on like $35,000 of spend and it would not cover my annual fees. So maybe we don't talk about subsidizing annual fees with cash back
You
today.
can have one card that it subsidizes, then it's doing the job.
No, because that's points that I'm taking away MR points.
Oh, whatever. Hey, hey, to each his own. You know, your spend is.
It's all about lighting up the pleasure center of your brain, and everybody's pleasure center lights up for a different reason.
Well, mine doesn't do it with credit cards, but that's a different story or a different podcast.
No comment. But yeah, I personally would love to see Amex give you the opportunity to convert membership reward dollars into membership reward points because membership reward dollars are worth um nothing. Not even nothing. Like membership reward dollars, all you can use them for is a statement credit. Okay, statement credits are cool. Okay, using a statement credit toward my annual fee is cool, but like what else can I do with a membership reward dollar? Literally nothing. Like they are as useful as Shiba Inu coins. Like they have no purpose.
Hey, Shiba is still going to the moon. I still believe in that.
You
And
and
that
Elon
is,
Musk, sir.
but no, in all
You
seriousness, yeah, no, if the Blue Cash or any of the American Express cashback cards that earn reward dollars, if they did earn MR points, I would probably start dabbling into the MR system, even though I technically can earn MR points because I have their checking account, but I'm not going to earn half an MR point per dollar spent. That just seems like a very bad use of my spend.
That it would
I
also
think it would be.
fix their catch-all on the personal side because they have the magnet at 1.5. So while it's not 2 times back, it's at least 1.5. And I think that card would become very, very popular. And they could also just up it to 2 if they were to fix the system. And I think everybody would be happy for it.
Yes.
Yeah, but knowing Amex, they'll probably up it to 2 and charge like a $95 annual fee because Amex.
Unlimited 2x membership reward point earning card for $95. Like it would suck. But yeah, you'd pay it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I do pay for Sapphire Preferred, so I guess that
And
makes
folks,
sense.
we're absolutely aware that the Blue Business Plus is a no annual fee, 2 times membership reward point earning card for up to $50,000 in spend. We get it, but not everybody wants to apply for a business card. And while American Express is very liberal in how they interpret the word business card, um, applying for a business card to get 2 times membership reward point flat is, in my opinion, silly. But that's just me. So, yeah, that's going to round out the topics. As I'm sure everyone has noticed at this point, unfortunately, we weren't able to get Lonnie on for this episode, but Lonnie, we're hoping to get back next week. So, just check out the Call Me Lonnie channel. Things happen. Travel was interrupted, and yeah, life has lifed. Um, so, yeah. RJ, do we happen to have any questions this week?
We do not have questions this week, but I have talked to a couple of people and we will have questions next week.
I'm looking forward to that. So let's wrap it up here. RJ, if folks want to find you, where is the best place to find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Do You Take Cards? I just put out a video on transfer partners, and I have a new one coming Thursday, which I think will be interesting, or at least I hope so, because it's my roadmap for 2025, which I'm going to be talking about the gold a lot. So we'll get into that.
So much gold. Tariq, what is the best place to find you?
Well, until I get the YouTube channel, which did we talk to Grassi yet? I think that's coming soon. We haven't but anyway, aside from that, you can find me crawling around in the venture capital Discord is the best way to reach me. Just send me a message, say hi. I may regret that, but you know what? I'm a friendly guy. So send me your DMs, send me questions, just say, hey, I'm from the Stack Your Points channel or Stack Your Points podcast. And what's up? And I will say what's up back.
Absolutely. The latest on Grassi that I understand is the ref is blocking the door and all communications to and from Grassi. So I have no idea what's going on with the script right now. It's a little unfortunate. I may have to call Benchwarmer Brand on this one. We'll have to find out. But if you like what we do here at Stack Your Points, feel free to drop questions either on our YouTube channel or via the email address that is going to be in the description of the YouTube channel. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, review the podcast, let us grow our audience over there as well. If you don't use Apple Podcasts, that's totally fine. If you like what we do, do a like or recommendation or review of some sort. Give us the stars that you believe that we are worth, and let us grow our community over Icecast, Pocketcast, Overcast, Something Cast, YouTube podcasts, it's YouTube podcasts. I am blanking Spotify and Audible as well. Wherever you get your podcasts, please give us 5 stars so that we can continue to grow our little audience here. Drop a question if you want. We will have questions soon. This has been Stack Your Points. I'm Matt. It's RJ. It's Tariq. Lonnie will be back soon. Talk to you guys next week. Bye for now.